How's it going, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy B with another video today. And I think today we're going to talk about something that has been on my mind, um, especially ever since we kind of talked about it in the I Bean Thinking video, or not even the Cocoa Bean special, right? The Cocoa Bean slash I Bean Thinking crossover that I did with my buddy. Sorry, meal prepping. But expectations, right? Now I kind of want to talk about the adverse effect of it, or the side of it, where maybe we don't see it as often for us, but I'm seeing it a lot more often for myself. And that is the whole aspect of falling short of expectations. I have really have to come to terms a lot with just how this year has been going for me. Life has been really hit and miss as far as how a lot of things have panned out for themselves and how they continue to pan out for themselves. But I also have to come to had to come to a lot of realization that now that I've been going back to church and trying to recenter myself with faith, how much a lot of our expectations fall short because we don't allow God's timing to happen, right? We put a lot of specific time frames and things of that nature into our day to day, but we don't come to realize how much that actually negates a lot of our progress, right? Sometimes we think we fall short, and we think that we have failed a lot because we didn't meet a certain criteria for ourselves, or we didn't meet a certain certain situation in our life, and we don't come to realize that sometimes it's not going to happen the way we want it to happen, right? You're going to go through a lot of phases in life that involve a lot more than just some dumb luck. You're going to have to do a lot of things, aspects that we don't expect of ourselves, and just in general, just a lot of stuff that I don't think we put into a lot of consideration how much it really affects us, right? The weight loss and weight training for me, those last couple months, especially with trying, not gonna lie to you, a couple fad diets and a couple of other diets that maybe weren't suited to my body, suited to my lifestyle, really kicked my ass and kind of kicked me back into, I guess, a negative situation with it. But I also have to look at it from a positive standpoint and realize that we learned a lot, right? We learned a lot about ourselves. We learned a lot about just, about what's gonna work for us and what's not. And I'm not trying to force myself into anything that's not gonna work. Lost the pepper there, but and so it's one of those things where we have to kind of realize what exactly is coming out of life, right? And kind of where we stand in the grand scheme of everything. As much as I'd like to say that I have a lot of this figured out, I don't. A lot of this is going to be kind of trial and error and just trying to figure out life. I'm not trying to rush life anymore. I'm not trying to meet certain aspects of my life. La verdura, ¿ya está? Ajá. Ahorita ya estoy esperando que se cocine todo. You can learn. Now you guys know where I get my cooking from. But it is just one of those things that you look into a lot of it, and you start to realize how convenient a lot of the timing was, right? How convenient a lot of situations are where they fall into your life when you least expect them and when you most expect them. And so for me, going into a lot of things, with this with this weight loss journey that I'm on, and realizing that as much as I want to meet certain dates, certain times, certain things, a lot of this is still new to me. A lot of this is different than when I used to power lift, when I used to strongman compete, and so the training aspect of it is different. The eating aspect of it is different. I'm not looking to maintain calories. I'm looking to drop calories. And so, just trying to find that happy little niche of where everything sits and where everything's gonna fall, and and how life's really gonna evolve around itself that way has been the fun part. Um, I don't have to. It's not as complicated as I set it out to be, and it's actually a lot easier than you would think. And and I should be realistically. There's a lot of things I could be doing different, a lot of things I could be doing better as far as the way we do this. But I think that's where the fun comes in, right? It's learning on the journey as we go. Just like the meal, and then I got the water boiling now for some pasta, some good old protein pasta. And so I think that's what's been the funnest for me, is really just learning about a lot of it. Um, really just taking everything into consideration, and realizing, you know, exactly where everything falls into it, and not rushing stuff anymore, right? Like, you're gonna go into it with not that much knowledge, with not that much experience, but what we're hoping for is a lot more know-how and a lot more of a building block for life. And so, the expectations for me, of already having a certain goal set and a certain mindset set, I knew it was going to be tough. I mean, I'm changing, decades worth of habits that I've, accumulated over the last 27 years of my life, that now I have to change, because they're not going to benefit me. They're actually hampering me. And I think that's been the hardest part, is realizing that I wasn't overeating because I was stressed. I wasn't overeating because I was doing this. I was overeating because I was bored. It's not filling my time. Instead of sitting on my phone for so long after training, now I come home and I try to fill my brain with a lot of other things, a lot of different things, to where, I can keep myself busy, keep myself occupied and distracted, and I'm not just wasting time. I think that's been the hardest part, is just trying to find a good, middle ground, as far as not wasting my day, but also not just overwhelming myself. And I know that's just going to be something that comes with time, time and effort. And so I'm not going to try to rush it anymore. I'm not trying to do a lot of things that's just going to make everything worse. But all I got to tell you is, lessen your expectations on a deadline, and put those expectations on God's timing, and life's just going to be so much easier for you. I promise that. So with that being said, I will cut the video for now. I'll see you guys when this is ready and ready to be packaged, so you guys can see how my meals go, and we'll go from there. Peace. It's not a game.